I came here in 1961 from India. I left school at 16, I got a job as an apprentice mechanic, and everything was fine. I got a national insurance number, went through life, paid all my taxes, until I applied for a passport.
Those are the words of Jeff Thomas, read by his widow Sandy. Aged 10, Jeff moved from a Commonwealth country to the UK, and as a result of the Immigration Act of 1971, he had the right to live and work here indefinitely. But when he applied for British citizenship as an adult, the Home Office repeatedly stated there was no record of him. Jeff and Sandy spent most of their 50-year marriage haunted by the possibility of his deportation.
Like my father and my family, all those people came here to rebuild this country, and to be treated like this is atrocious. You treat an animal better. Oh. Yeah, you lived it, but you didn't really talk about it, you know? You just got on with it. This is all his PAYE, his national insurance, his taxes.
Sandy showed us page after page of proof of Jeff's life in the UK.
None of this stuff, none of it was good enough for them, to be honest with you.
But within months of applying to the Windrush scheme in 2018, Jeff's British citizenship was confirmed.
This is, Jeff actually got a passport. Here it is. Very proud of that.
Jeff applied for the Windrush compensation scheme and was offered £10,000 last September.
Poor Jeff. So actually he got an interim payment, but he got it 2 days before he died. So he didn't get to spend it, but I did use the money to pay for his funeral. So I am grateful for that, but still very sad.
This is one of many events marking 75 years since hundreds of people came to the UK from the Caribbean aboard the Empire Windrush. Wreaths were laid at an African Caribbean war memorial in Brixton. Hundreds of thousands across the Commonwealth would follow and would be entitled to stay. But in 2018, it emerged the government had not properly recorded some of their details, and at least 83 were deported. This is, of course, a time to pay tribute to the Commonwealth citizens who came to the UK to rebuild the UK's economy after World War II. They worked in our public services, our hospitals, the military. But it's also a time to remember how the Windrush generation have been treated. Even the Home Office call it a scandal.
In May 48, the Empire Windrush set sail from the Caribbean for Britain.
In 2021, the Home Office stated 23 Windrush victims had died while waiting for compensation.
Among them ex-RAF servicemen.
Jacqueline McKenzie is one of the leading Windrush lawyers and believes the number is higher.
The scandal does actually affect people from across the Commonwealth. So I've had white Canadian clients, I've had white New Zealanders, I've had people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, I've had lots of West Africans, and my biggest group are Caribbeans, but it's not an exclusively Caribbean issue.
The government says it's paid or offered more than £72 million worth of compensation. How would you describe the progress that's being made?
That figure doesn't really explain much to us. What we really want to understand is why have only 1,600 people had anything? That is a very low figure. I think 4 years after the compensation scheme was launched and 5 years after the scandal came into the public consciousness, and we're still pretty much where we were at the beginning, suggests that they're not really able. And there's some wonderful people that we work with who work in the Home Office, but something is structurally wrong in that department. And so I do think now the time has come for somebody else to look at this.
There are concerns moving the operation away from the Home Office could risk delaying payments. The Home Office told us it's making improvements so people receive the maximum award as quickly as possible. The former head of the UK Border Force says he's hopeful lessons have been learned.
Of course it's affected them deeply in the department, and I know that significant numbers of measures have been taken to address the issue of this never happening again. But we still don't actually have an identity management strategy in this country. So we need to be really, really careful when we're considering measures about how we're going to deal with people in the community where we find people that haven't got documents, and not assume that simply because they don't have a document that they're working or staying illegally.
For Sandy, the trauma of losing her lifelong partner has been compounded by how Britain treated him, and her heart breaks to know that he's not an isolated case.
We ran out of time, but I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I want the Home Office to look at these cases and acknowledge them. These are people, and we matter.
The Home Office have told us tonight the figure paid or offered to Windrush claimants is now $75 million. In a statement, the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, told us the government were making improvements so that people receive the maximum award as quickly as possible, but that the government recognised there was more work to do.